For the first time I've ever done something like that, you gotta give me a little bit of slack, I guess. I didn't expect it to slide on me like that, although the ramps are kind of wet, so oh well. I wanted to turn it over more and get it to go down to 1, but it wouldn't go, so oh well. Brakes on it might be kind of wet or not exactly there. It held it pretty well though, once until I got on that wood spot, then I kind of started sliding. Well, it seems like lately things on the channel have taken a turn for bigger adventures, I guess. Hey guys, how's it going? Previously on the channel we had started kind of getting into some bigger tractors. This is a 1943 Allis Chalmers C. I haven't really messed with an Allis Chalmers C, or Allis Chalmers in general. I did have a friend of mine's WD-45 carb that I went through for him and cleaned it up and put it back together. Never really messed with Allis Chalmers. This is kind of my first one that I've really played with. Pretty neat little tractor. I got the story and everything behind it, and we are going to go over it and do some work to it, and I'll kind of talk about everything I've done to it before I got it off my trailer. So yeah, let me go on ahead and I want to take it around and try it out, make sure it works good and everything since it runs, and then we'll go on ahead and get it into the shop and get going on it.
I thought that might happen.
Try to catch me howling at the moon.
So here's the new tractor. This is a 1943 Allis Chalmers C, like I said before. The story on this tractor is I am actually, as far as I know, the second owner. Previous owner of the tractor who had it bought it new, and he had all of the literature, all of the books for it and everything. I did get a bunch of stuff with it. I will show that off here soon. I got a bunch of literature with the tractor. I got an owner's manual, shop manual. Here sometime soon, maybe in another video, we'll go over all the paperwork and everything I got. Unfortunately, I don't think I have any receipts that came with the tractor to say when it was bought or where. but I have a suspicion that it was bought somewhere close to the area of Worcester. It's the 1943. The guy that I bought it off of was, well, let me start over. It was the owner. It was the guy's uncle who I bought it from, or not the guy's uncle. It was the guy's uncle who owned it. He passed away. His aunt had the tractor and she didn't really want it around, so they sent it off to him for him to sell. Another thing about the tractor is the guy that owned it before me, I have the uncle, I have no hard feelings or nothing about it. It's fine. It's kind of sad, but at the same time it's fine. The previous owner of it passed out while he was running it, and he had a little trailer that he pulled around behind it, and I guess he passed out while he was moving the trailer and jackknifed it. What exactly happened, I don't know, but no shame or nothing to him. Things like that do happen. No damage happened to the tractor, but he did show me the spot on the trailer. So it was the guy's uncle. He was very, very meticulous about it. He was kind of like me. He kept on top of everything. All the service was done to it. All of the fluid changes were done to it. The tractor, before I bought it, sat for about a year in the lot of the place that I bought it from, just sitting there for sale. I had actually seen this tractor. I didn't know it was this exact tractor, but I had seen this tractor at that place. And I had wanted to stop there for a while and ask about it, but I never really got around to it. I had an interview over there, and I was going to stop by after that, but I completely forgot and came back to the shop and thought, damn it, I should have stopped and asked about that tractor. So, oh well. But I saw this tractor on Facebook Marketplace, and I looked at it for a couple weeks, and I thought, you know, I really wouldn't mind having that tractor. And I had, at the time, I had a Farmall A. I had kind of been thinking about selling the Farmall, but at the same time keeping it. So I had listed it on Marketplace and I completely forgot about it. The Farmall A was a tractor that I never really showed on camera. It was just kind of a project that I took on by myself because I had other things going on and I really didn't want to be rushed on this one. I wanted to kind of work on this at my own pace, so I didn't really record it. Because I feel kind of rushed, to be honest with you, when I pull the camera out to record something. It's just the way I am. So I got that tractor and I got into it and I went through it and did everything I wanted to do with it. The only reason I got that Farmall was because I had made a trade deal with a friend of mine, but we kind of changed our minds on that deal and I just kept the Farmall and got into it and got it going again and sold it off. So after I sold that tractor off, here's what I got. If you're wondering what I paid for it, I gave $950 for it. I have some other stuff to show off also, but the tractor does run, as you guys saw. I did do some work to it off camera. It would not start when I went to get it off the trailer. So I pulled it, or I didn't pull it. I went through the fuel system and checked it. I didn't pull the carb apart, but I pulled the sediment bowl, drained the gas, and also because the gas that was in it smelled like it was older than Christ, when Christ was born. So I went ahead and changed the gas out in it and took care of that. So it's got fresh gas in it, and as you guys saw in the beginning clip, after I put the fresh gas in it and put it all back together, it fired right up, so that was pretty good. We floated it out at the guy's place. I had went through about 3 batteries trying to get this thing to go on that old gas, because I thought I could probably get it to go off of that, but no, there was no life in that gas, and it also had some water in it, so it needed to go. So, but yeah. What other things? It's a 6-volt charging system, and it is actually positive ground. I've never owned a tractor that was positive ground. This is my first one, same with a 6-volt. And for it being a 6-volt, it actually cranks over pretty quick. I was really surprised by that. So yeah, I guess let's go on ahead and get into it. We need to look everything over. I have not checked the oil in it. I know that's a bad thing, but I do want to check the oil in it. We checked the oil pressure, and the oil pressure was good. I did have to top off the coolant in the radiator because the radiator was low, So I did top that off and get that took care of. I had to we drained out the oil that goes in the bowl for the oil bath because it was full of water and the bowl kept falling off on him when he'd move it around. So we just took it off and threw it in the back of the truck. And then when I got it home, I threw the bowl back on it just so nothing would crawl up in there while it was sitting outside on the trailer. So yeah, let's go on ahead and let's get into the thing, check the oil and whatever else, and make sure that we've got a decent... So the nice thing about this tractor, and one thing that catches me off guard, is it's actually got a dipstick on it, where the Farmall and the B that I have both have petcocks on them where you open and that's how you check your oil. Now I have a funny story about dipsticks, and the individual knows who he is, who I am about to start talking about. A friend of mine has, and no gas in it or nothing, oil looks good. Friend of mine has a Allis Chalmers WD-45. Oh boy, now you know who you are. So, at the scrap tractor show out in Sandusky, Ohio this year, we were in his WD-45 and I had the wagon hooked up to it and we were riding around behind it. Well, it looks full and it actually looks pretty good. It might have some water in it. So, we were riding around behind his tractor in the wagon and my camera was out and it was starting to rain. So he threw me back. He had an oil rag inside the toolbox of his tractor that he used to check his oil. It was actually his great-grandfather's tractor. And I think it was his great-grandfather's. So he threw this oil rag back at us and I used it to cover my camera, and Jack and I were there and we kind of were looking at it thinking something's off about that rag. So it stopped raining and I pulled the rag off of my camera and we kind of looked at it and we unfolded it, and it was actually a pair of panties that he was using as his oil rag. So I thought that was pretty funny, and doing this made me think about that. So pretty much ever since then, that's been the thing that you target him with, is you use a pair of panties as an oil rag. So over here, as you can see this right here, there's a fuel shut off right here. I actually pulled the sediment bowl off of it. The sediment bowl wouldn't stop the gas from flowing. So I pulled the sediment bowl off and I pulled the shut off out and I cleaned it up and polished it so that way it wouldn't leak anymore. The tractor has to be run with it choked, so that tells me that it needs to have the thing cleaned. That's water, I'm pretty certain, yeah. So water does get in here, yeah, because we had this empty. So where's the water getting in from? That's weird. Yeah, see, that's water. We dumped that out the other day, so that's gonna have to be cleaned out. I had a feeling that that oil cap was missing something, and I'm really starting to think it is missing something. That might even be why the engine was not wanting to run so well. I doubt it. Unless the water is getting in somewhere else. It didn't smell like gas, it smelled like water. So, I don't know where it's coming in. I wonder if it was getting in through here. That had water in it, that reminds me. I wonder if it was getting in through there and going and draining down into there. I bet you that's what was happening, because this was starting to fill. It did flood on me a couple times. So that's probably what that was. So I'm gonna take that in there and I'm gonna dump it out in the sink and I'm gonna rinse it out and clean it out, and then after I do that, we'll throw it back on the tractor. Another thing actually also is these latches. They need to be helped a little bit. They need to be bent. Because they do not hold that up there all that well. And actually I shouldn't have done that right away. So I guess we'll deal with that. It's nice out for once. We finally have 50-degree weather. Almost 60-degree weather, actually. So, yeah. I'm gonna grab a pair of pliers and we'll see if we can bend that up just a little bit. Yeah, a friend of mine got me hooked on Allis Chalmers. I had kind of looked at them there for a while before, but never really moved on any of them. And then he had me looking at an Allis B for him that I was gonna go pick up, and he changed his mind on it. I don't remember why, but he changed his mind on it. I think there was something about it. And so ever since then I've kind of been looking around at one, and I had seen this one for sale and just had to have it. So yeah, let's take this in here and clean it out. I'm pretty certain that that's out of the I had kind of wondered there for a while if it was going to do that or not, and I guess it did. It's been sitting out in the rain the last couple of days, so I guess that don't help it all that much, does it? Kind of hurts it. But yeah, I sold the Farmall, and I took what I got out of that Farmall and bought this, so technically I traded, but at the same time I guess not. That looks alright. I don't remember what that is. It's some kind of degreaser that I kind of mixed together. Take this over there and dry it, and I'll be back. Well, I know this isn't the proper oil for the application, but this is the oil I have, so we're going to work with it. I'm not sure where the full mark would be on this. There's not really one established anywhere. I would assume that's about it, where it creases in around here. So we'll just fill it up to that mark. So let's see if throwing this back on here, we've got these right, or if we've got them too much. There we go. That holds. This one over here might need a little bit more attention. Well, maybe not. Yeah, he might need some attention actually. Where'd I put those pliers over? This guy over here seems, give him a little bit more also, just to get a little bit of throw. Let's say that. That's better. I said him also needs some persuasion. How's that? Is that better? No. Let's give it a little more. Just enough to... One thing that surprises me is the fact that Allis didn't put a ring around here like what Deere and Farmall did. That kind of surprises me. So there we go. That's stuck on there. So now we're finally going to get filtered air. Yay. So I don't want to run it a whole lot after seeing that oil. However, I do want to try starting it up and actually see if it runs any better now since we put some oil in the oil bath. I doubt it will, but it does add a restriction to the air, so I guess we'll see. It kind of acts like a joke. Ready? Let's see what it does. Here's a start. It's still got to be choked a little bit, so that's kind of what I thought. Oh well. That's an easy fix though. We'll just go on ahead and take the carb off, I guess. So I guess let's go on and get this carb taken off of this C. It looks like just that. Those two, and then the bolts up here, and that should take that off. Alright, let's see. I think this will be the one to do it. And I have the line for the gas shut off, so that shouldn't be an issue. Thinking I might replace this line. There we go. I wanted to see if anything would come out, but I don't want to open it. So that being loose should let that go. There's a jet. A little hissing noise is my little heater. I finally got a heater out here. This is a little propane one. So maybe now we won't be working in the cold so much. I got a bigger one that I'm currently looking at, but right now this is what I'm gonna do. So now we'll drop this. Hopefully this comes out easy. I was gonna wait on doing this, but I'm kind of to the point now where I just want to go on ahead and get it done. It needs it. Let's see if we can generate it in the way. We have a thing back here. Oh, we have all the linkages on the back of this we got to take off here too. Let's see. I think I gotta get this off of here without having to remove everything. Do I seriously have to take the generator off? There we go. Okay, so there's a cotter pin back here. That's not really that big of a deal. There we go. That wasn't horrible. So now that's the choke back there. How does this choke come out of here? Almost looks like that is a flathead screwdriver. Which it is. Oh, I bet this is a clamp. I know exactly what this is. This is a clamp, right? maybe. Oops. Would make sense. This is a clamp or some sort. Come on. Well, that just came out entirely. And still nothing here. There we go. I got it. Yeah, it was a clamp like I thought. Alright, so let's take this over here. Let's get it apart. So let's see what kind of trouble we can get ourselves into here. I think we just take these out on bottom. I'm curious to see how similar this is to that WD-45 carb. I really don't think there's much difference. It looks about the same. Oh, that wasn't a YouTube project. I did that off camera. I had a WD-45 carb I worked on for a friend of mine, and that thing was pretty rough inside. I'm just going to put it that way. I didn't film doing that one. I should have. I didn't feel a need to because all I was doing was the carb. I wasn't really doing anything else involving the tractor. I let it soak a few days because everything on it was so damn stiff. Okay, so taking this thing apart, there we go. Should just be these 4 bolts, I think, that hold it together. The 2 halves, and then after the 2 halves are separated. Now this guy was meticulous about stuff, so I wouldn't expect it to be stuck, but apparently it is. I'd assume this has probably been opened at least once in its life. Maybe not. Yeah, needless to say, that gasket ain't coming back. Yeah, it's the exact same carb inside, huh? Yeah, we're gonna have to peel away at that gasket. I might just actually go on ahead and run this through. Yeah, I'm gonna run this through just to do it. Looking at how rough it is, and then I'm going to take it apart. Will I get this rubber boot off, or is this going to be, you know, it'll come off after. Yeah, that'll come off after. So I'm going to soak this because this thing is pretty rough. Not quite as bad as I was, or it's not as bad as I was expecting it to be, but it's pretty bad looking inside. So I'm just gonna go on ahead and throw this in here and run it. And then we will be back after that is done. So let's go ahead and pull this carb apart since we're over here kind of thinking about it.
let it go through a couple hours. Oh wow, look at that. It looks wonderful. So, I guess let's see what comes out. It's one thing that this does is it completely changes things and takes the paint right off. Take a look. Wow, that cleaned up nicely. So, we really, to be honest, probably didn't even need to throw it through there, but I figured may as well, since we're already here and already into it. So, oh well. Oh yeah, that'll come apart nice. So we have that. And we have that. It'd be nice to take that out also. Man, look at that. Yeah, that gasket's just falling apart. With other pieces, we can take this off. Should have ran it in to see how far in it was, but oh well. We'll figure it out later, and maybe while it's warmer. Because currently outside it is 20 something. Not much warmer here in the shop, but it's a little bit better in here than it is outside. It's actually, I think last time I checked it was almost 50. Thinking this guy should do the trick. I hope. Shit. Oh, I think that's stuck in there. Yeah. Oh well. I'm not going to try any further to get that out. I hope I can get a thing back in there without any trouble. So that's the top. Oh, so this is like that other carb out of his WD. I don't remember that WD carb having, let me get this to come out of here. I bet you it's bigger than, yeah. There we go. Shit. Come. And snag me. That's a drain. That's what I thought. I hope there's no packing in here. This is the air fuel mix, and then the one that we took out up above is the idle. I'm assuming. I need to get this out of here now. There we go. Oh, and there's a jet inside of there. That's probably stuck. No, it's not. That's shocking. I figured it was in there and never coming out. There we go. Cool. Wish that would come off there, but oh well. That's your choke over there. I'm not sure what this jet inside is, but I'd kind of like to take it out. That WD had one in it also. I don't remember what size it was. I doubt it's this one, but it might be. I don't think. I guess it is. I've been changing some stuff out here in the shop, trying to make things a little bit more economical. That's just destroying that tube. Never mind, I don't think that's going to come out, and I really don't want to do any more harm to that. I'm not sure what that does exactly, but I don't want to cause any more damage to it. And I actually just spotted a one here under this gasket. Yep. There's another jet. Can't see. Oh well, I can stay in there, I guess. I'm gonna let them soak a little bit more, I guess. Then we'll take it apart a little further if we can. So throwing this all back together. Wondering what this is, if this is some kind of packing is what I thought it was at first. So now, throw that all back in there. And throw this lid back on here. And I'm going to run that for a little bit, and after that little bit I'll bring you back. So while we're waiting for that curve to get done, let's go on ahead and drain the oil out of this thing. This is what is going to determine whether this pan is to come off or not. Hopefully there is no sludge or anything at the bottom of this pan. If there is, I'll just go on ahead and pull it and we'll see if we can find a gasket for it. There we go. Can't find my other thing, so that's gonna have to do. The goal is not to get any oil on myself. What the hell? I'm pretty certain that was water that came out for the first bit. Yeah, like I thought, there was definitely water in that oil. So yeah, it's probably a good thing that we're changing that out. So I guess once that oil is changed out, I will bring you back and we'll look at it and see if there's any metal shavings in it and how it looks. It's gonna fill that pan, it almost looks like. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, I thought it looked kind of watery when it was in there. So let me take this over here and clean it up, and then I'll bring you guys back and we'll feel around in there and see what we find. So after seeing the oil, I think we should go on ahead and take this oil filter off of here. How easy or how difficult do you think this thing's going to be to turn? Holy shit. For once, somebody actually didn't over tighten that. That's a first. think we're hitting on something. What are we stuck on? We're stuck in. Oh, we're stuck on further on. You know, it just occurred to me that spark plug doesn't have a boot on or a wire on it. Interesting. Make a note of that. There we go. So there's your oil filter. That's got an interesting one. Yeah, just as I thought. That's all full of shit. Yeah. Yummy. So, wonder how that oil in that transmission looks. I should probably change that too, now that I'm thinking about it. Stick that in there and let it absorb whatever the hell's in here. Gonna have to get a number off of that. Oil filter, I guess. These are no fuel filters, I don't think. If it was a diesel, it would. As far as I know, they just have sediment bowls. I don't think there's an intake filter. I wouldn't think. So I wonder what the... Oh, what's a hose? I am not sure where it pulls in clean oil from, so I'm just going to get this out of here because I don't want that going back into the motor. Especially after we put new clean oil in it, you know. So, yeah, get that all cleaned out, and then once this is all cleaned out and everything seems happy, we can, I guess, put some new engine oil in her and see how that goes. I will say, and I'm kind of on the fence on this myself, but I'm on the fence actually of keeping this and selling the B. So if anybody out there, well, never mind, I already have somebody I'd offer it to if I was to sell it, but I'm just kind of I'm kind of thinking about that right now because I kind of like this tractor. I like how small it is. This is actually exactly what I was looking for when I got into the big tractors, and I really don't need that B around here because I have more stuff for this. That, and I can get this into tighter places in the shop. Doesn't take nearly as much room either. That, and I'm just not really a huge fan of deers, to be truly honest with you. I never really liked them. Which, having a shop full of them says otherwise, but the people I was talking to at the time were deer people, and that's really all you could find, so that's just what I went with. But now, just not really interested in them, to be honest with you. So, I'm starting to really like the Cubs. I like the Cubs a lot more than them. I actually grew up on an old Cub. That's what we had as a kid. And I really liked that old Cub that we used to have. So, yeah. Let's see. I would say that this is probably about as clean as we're going to get it to be. There we go. So I guess let's go on ahead and check that transmission out, see how that transmission looks. This could be fun. So I want to pull this plug out right here. This is the fill plug for the transmission. And I want to see, I want to see what the fluid in here looks like. There we go. And if it is as bad as I'm thinking it is or not. What are your guesses? If it's as bad as the engine in that, or the oil in that engine, oh boy. I'm already looking in there, that doesn't look all that great. Let's take a look, shall we? Should be clear. Oh my, wow. Yeah, that's bad. So we gotta change that. That's not good. I can't leave that like that. Oh, and it's got chunks in it. That's disgusting. Yeah, we gotta change that out. There's no question. So I guess once the thing with the engine oil in it is, or I guess once the engine's fully drained out, we'll get the transmission. So I know what you're gonna say. Yes, that is the same tin that we just used to drain out the engine oil. I dumped it out and I threw it in a bucket, and I stuck the bucket underneath of the oil pan. I don't think I'm gonna pull the oil pan off on this one. I should, after what I had seen, but I don't think we really need to worry about it all that much. There's two things in there. I think that's all just one unit. Wonder what the other plug in there is. Might be for if you don't want to drain it all the way out. I'm not sure if it's a square head like I think it is, or if it is a Allen head, but I guess we'll see. There's two of them down here. I should do it back here actually. Easier to get to. So let's see how difficult this is. There we go. Actually, there we go. Turn slightly. Come on. Oh, I can't wait to see what surprises come out of this thing. Let's see if we can get this out without getting any on myself. Oh my. Well, looks like gear oil. Not what gear oil should look like. Gear oil should be clear. So, great. I'm not sure what the other one up ahead of that one is. I want to assume that's for, I don't know why there would be two drain plugs on the bottom of that. I wouldn't think it's a different reservoir, but I guess you never know. The level is going down, so that's good. I'm gonna let that drain, and I guess I'll bring you guys back once that's done draining. So one thing I don't like about this C is it's really difficult to steer. So I want to see if we can make this any easier to steer. I grabbed a 15/16 wrench because that seems to be the size that this nut or bolt is. mouse just ran into the shop. Nice. There we go. So, what are you doing, you little bastard? Where are you going? So, what I want to do, that's what I figured it was. There we go. I want to see, yeah, that's what I thought it was. Key just fell out. Damn it, I'll have to grab that. Yeah, it's a key shaft, that's what I thought. So, what I should have done was I should have had the key at the top, but oh well, there it is right there. So now what I want to do is, there's a gearbox down here. We'll send some oil down it. I want to see if putting some oil in here and having it make its way down the shaft will help us any. Hopefully that does, and it doesn't catch a bunch of dirt. That would suck. So if we can keep that right there, I'm gonna flip this around like so. I just want to see I fell on an easy to get to spot. Cool. Another thing too is there's some ball joints on here. Oil those up and see if that helps us any at all. But I think we have it now. Let's throw the steering wheel back on, and that should hopefully help us with getting a little bit easier steering out of it. Yeah, that already. Maybe not. Well, let's get it back together before we start making assumptions here. Might even be missing a spacer somewhere. So let's see. That's fine right there. Yeah, that steers a little bit easier now. It still has a binding spot. I'm not sure where at it's binding, but once you get past it, you're fine. However, it does move a little easier now. One thing we should do, as I saw on this, right there, it's got a plug you can pop off. I wonder if we should add some fluid to that. Maybe that'll help our cause. So let's do that. So here's that box I was talking about. Right here is one of those ball joints. Take a wrench and put it on there. I'm not sure what size that would be. I'm gonna say it's either 3/8 or 7/16. It appears to be a 7/16, and actually there's a longer one sitting right here that we can use. There we go. Let's see where we are at with oil here. I'm assuming this is for some kind of steering gearbox. Let's see, what do we have? No dipstick, and it looks dry. Maybe that's our problem. Let me grab something to poke down in here with. Can't get in there, that's too. Let's try this guy. Maybe he can get in there. Can't get in there, and there's no oil on that either. Well, hopefully there's something in here, because if there's not, then that would explain our binding. Yeah, I can't get nothing in there. I think it has a bend, so I guess let's just add fluid. And let's see how long it takes for it to start coming out. Not sure how big of a reservoir this thing has either. That might have actually just filled it. Yeah, see, it goes in like I thought it did. So yeah, you couldn't get a screwdriver in there. Before I go doing all of that, let's turn that wheel and see if that made any kind of difference at all in how this thing steers. I will say that definitely made an impact because it's a lot quieter and it definitely moves a lot easier. Yep, and it started moving easier there. So that is our problem, is I don't think there's any oil in this. So let's just fill it until it starts coming out. And once it starts coming out, we'll close it. It might even just take this whole thing, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think we just emptied our can. Okay, yeah, there we go. Where's that lid? No, there it is. So there we go. That's full. That's full of oil. So now, I guess we can go on ahead and enjoy our better steering. I'm gonna move that back and forth for a while and just get the oil flowing around in there. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, if there's anything left in here, let's get this ball joint greased. And then I'm gonna go down below, grease the other one, or oil the other one. There's a grease zerk down on the bottom. I already greased that. Just, there's only one grease zerk on this tractor, believe it or not, and that's so far the only one that I have found. So, yeah. Let me get the other one oiled, and once I get that other one oiled, I'm going to move this wheel around for a bit, and we'll see. So another thing I want to do while I'm in here is I want to go on ahead and take the spark plugs out and just look at them and make sure that everything in here looks good. I was going to say, that's not loose. I might need... What the hell? There we go. I may not be able to have that extension on there. Hold on a second, let me find a better... Now we should be able to get onto this thing and get it off. There we go. So let's see what is behind plug number 1. Plug number 1, plug number 4, whatever. Doesn't look terrible. I don't see any evidence of oil on there. That's the first thing to look for. I don't see any evidence of oil on there. It's definitely been running rich, but I will say the reason for it running rich is because I've had to have it choked, and I know that that took a toll on it, and the gas in it wasn't all that great, and the carb needed cleaned, so I'm going to go on ahead and chalk it up to that. Let me get this plug cleaned up, and then I'll put it back in, and we'll check plug number 2. Cleaned up the electrode on here, and I also cleaned up everything on here, so this plug should be nice and clean so we can throw it back into the engine. Just take it in there and wire wheel it, and then after I wire wheel everything off, I'll grab a file, and I'll just grab a piece of sandpaper, and I'll sand a little bit of the electrode and a little bit off on the top. The gap between the things in there should be 30, so you just gotta make sure you didn't throw your gap off too much. If you didn't, you're good. But that's just kind of my way of doing them. We'll pull this guy out next. He'll probably be the easiest one to get to. How's this guy look? Yeah, same story on him. He's kind of sad. I don't see no burned oil on it or anything, any evidence of water, so you guys probably want to see it. Just take a look. There he is. He looks pretty good, I would say. So I'm going to get that one cleaned up and we'll throw him back in, and then next. You know, one thing I noticed about this plug, and it really caught me off guard. There's 2 washers on it. 2 crush washers. There should be just one. So I'm going to pull this one off for now, and I'm going to set it up there, and let's see what happens when we thread it back in. And then we'll also do it on the rest, because I think on the other one that we took out, it only had 1. So that's kind of interesting. And I guess something to make a note of. There we go. So let's grab our next guy. He's probably going to have this taken off. Just take the wire off of the coil. Can you even get in there to get him out without taking the coil off? Really? Make this coil go down a little. Well, there we go. If we can get this coil to go down just a little bit, that would work. All it needs is a couple inches. Let's see if that helped. There we go. We're on it. So how much joy is it going to be to get that front one out of there? I see the distributor in the way. Oh boy. So let's see, cylinder number 3. Cylinder number 3 has 1 washer too. Yeah, that's what I thought. This one looks good. I don't see anything wrong with it. It looks like the first 2. So I'll just take it in there and clean it up, and then I'll bring it back. So we are back now with plug number 3. So we'll throw him back in. And then after we do plug number 3, we'll do plug number 4. This is actually plug 2, I believe. That's plug 1. So, oh, just the way I'm counting it, leave me alone, okay? I'm sure somebody will leave me a comment and tell me what side of the engine's the front, what side of the engine's the back. I know it. To be honest, I don't care. I just know 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it's in a line, so that's just how I'm going to count them. Okay, this guy is going to be fun. Let's see if we can get to him even. I'm hitting here. I wonder, I just thought of something. I'm not sure if this will work or not, and I'm not sure if there's enough room in there to do it, but I have this. If we can make, this is a U-joint socket or adapter. If we can get, there we go, I think we're on it. Look at that, cool. So, let's look at cylinder number 4 or cylinder number 1 or whatever. Cylinder number 1 looks good, 4 looks good, whatever. So I would say all of them look just about the same. They're all kind of running a little bit rich, but again, like I said before, the fuel that I was burning wasn't all that great. I'm gonna clean this one up. I'm gonna put this back together. And once I get this owl back together, I gotta get some engine oil for it, and then we can start it. So, yeah, we're getting pretty close to being able to run this thing again. So we now have the gasket set for the carb. I got on there and ordered it. So now we can go on ahead and put this carb back together. And hopefully, this is the correct one. It's got the seat and everything in there. Looks about right. Flip that around. Oh no. Cool, look at that. It is the right one. What the hell is this hole right here for? Oh. Wait a minute. We'll figure it out. Alrighty, so cool, we have that lined up. And this one goes to up here, which that is correct. Cool. So let's go ahead and get this thing pieced back together. Hopefully it should go together simple. I'm going to try to reuse the old jets, such as this one and the other one over there, or use that one over there, not the new one, if I can. There we go. Cool. So now we have a new jet, or a new seat, and also a new needle. Let me grab a, actually this might do it. We don't slip it and screw it up. You know, actually, wasn't there supposed to be a washer under that? Probably, I would assume yes. I almost think there was. We might want to pull that back out and make sure that there wasn't. So I am going to pull that back out of there and just make sure there's not one that goes in there. However, no, that's not going to do it. I'll just use this one. It already worked for getting it in. It'll work for getting it out. I don't think there's supposed to be a crush washer on there, but may as well make sure, you know. Let's see if there's one in here that matches it. That one looks close enough. So we'll throw it in there. So we'll throw that guy down in there. I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be one in there. And if there's not, then I guess we just stuck one where it didn't need to be, which, oh well. I hope I have a bigger screwdriver because that's not gonna work. So the problem with this one is it's too thick. However, other ways it works. Hopefully, that should do the trick. So now, if we did it right, this should go in there, which it does on both sides. Nice. There we go. We don't want to go too tight, but we don't want it loose. We just want it in there enough. We've almost got it, actually. Okay, we might want to stop. Okay, I'm going to stop because it was starting to come out. Yeah, okay. So that's fine where we have it. If we need to, eventually we can get back into it. But for right now, I'm pretty content with where that is and how it looks. Nice. So now we need to put... We gotta figure out how this goes. I think that looks about right to me. But what's this hole right here for? Oh, wait a minute. That, okay. This is how it goes right there. That's the way we need it to be. That hole right there lines up with this hole right there. So, yeah. Alright, cool. So now we need to take our new float, which has a thing on it we can't use because ours does not have a holder on it. I'm trying to remember what all came from here. I feel like there was a jet, which actually, yes, there was, and we are missing it. So no, we're not. It goes in here. There's not anything that goes in here. No. This is how it needs to be. We have that in where it needs to go. The needle and seat are set. I might actually want to it stops it, so okay, whatever. So it does stop air from getting through, so in that case it should stop fuel from getting through. So I guess the needle and seat is fine. It didn't quite seem like it was, but whatever. So the next thing that we need to do is this guy needs to go back into his house. And actually he has that. I want to see if I can find another one to replace him. There we go. Just to try to make this thing a little bit nicer, you know. There we go. Trying to remember what I used to remove this. Wish it would have come with a new one of them, but oh well. I think he ended up being a 15/16 socket, which I have, but it's in the other building, so I'd have to run over there and get it. Is there anything else here I can get put together before I have to go do that? Like that? He goes up here, correct? The goal is to get as much put together as I can before I have to go over there, because it is cold outside. It is 0 degrees, believe it or not. So the less that I have to go outside, the happier I will be. And in here it's not terrible. It's bearable, actually, just barely. So there's a rubber washer in there. So we'll go over there and grab our dentistry equipment. Where did I put that at? And we will grab this O-ring out. Don't really need to, but I'm going to because I have all new ones. There we go. Watch us not have one to put in there. It almost looks like there's a second one in there. Is there a second one in there? Seriously? Why is there 2 of them in there? That's interesting. Well, they may end up going back in there actually, because I don't think that I have one to go in there. Well, okay then. I wonder why there was 2 of them in there instead of just one. That don't make a lot of sense. Okay, so that goes in there. I'm wondering if I should just go on ahead and put this second one back in there also. Man, I fought them so hard to take them out, and now I'm putting them back. Nice. Could even have just took this and maybe not. So let me take him. I'll put him back down here. Is this one? What's this? There we go. I had thought that there was a thing there. So we'll just throw that guy on. That's the one that we just took off. Keep misplacing shit. There it is. So we'll throw him back on. We need to tighten that down, and then put this in. Was there a spring? I don't think there was a spring on that originally. So here is our 1/2-inch wrench. There we go, that puts him on. Then we gotta put the plug in that goes right there. I think that actually needs to have, it may or may not need to have one actually, but it's gonna have one regardless. Yeah, whatever. We can go in without one, I guess. If it ends up leaking, I'll throw one in it. This is probably going to be, yeah, 7/16. There. Cool. That needs to be tightened down. Then we got to throw the hose clamp back on over here. And once we do all of that, this will be all put back together and ready to be put back in the tractor. So yeah, cool. Let me run over there and grab that 15/16 socket, and then we will get this thing the rest of the way back together. Oh, and actually, while I'm thinking about it, we'll go ahead and throw that back in there. There we go. All right, I'll be back. Went over there and grabbed a socket. Works. While I was over there, I also grabbed a wrench. So yeah. Cool. So that should be nice and tight. And then we can tighten this guy up. Cool. Oh, okay, I know what that's for now. That's for tightening this. Keeping that from moving. Alright, I see. That's the packing. So I'm going to start by turning both of these jets in all the way. That's scary. That went really far in before it even thought about stopping. And it didn't even stop still. It makes me kind of nervous. Yeah, I don't even think it stopped. I feel like I'm missing something here. Maybe not. Am I sure that's not the one that goes up here? Yeah, I'm pretty certain that's not the one that goes up here. Now, you're not supposed to do this with a screwdriver, but when it gets to the point where you can't turn it anymore, stop going, which I did. Just get to that point. So now, I'm going to back this out to 1/2, 1/2 to 1/4. So, that's 2 1/4. And then once we get the tractor running, I will do this one down here. because I'm not quite sure where I want that one to be. So now we have this set in place. There we go. Everything looks to line up. Pretty nice, actually. Cool. So we'll throw all the bolts in. And once we have all the bolts, screws, whatever, stuck in here, we should be all set and ready to go on this thing. It should be ready to be put back together, or put onto the tractor, I mean. I have to remember how it goes back together because I don't quite remember. So, oh boy. This thing has been apart for a little while. It hasn't been very long for you guys, but for me it's been a little while. I've had some other stuff jump in my way, and I kind of waited to order the thing for this because I had some other stuff I was working on, and now I'm back to this thing so we can get it back together. So there we go. So throwing this back together, he's tight. He's tight. These two back here are not tight yet. He's tight now. And this guy is now tight. Cool. So all of them are tight. Air goes through. Air is leaking out. That's not good. Okay, so I can lift the depending how hard I blow into it, I can lift the needle and seat open, so something in that aspect is not right. So for those of you that have been pointing it out, I just realized what we're missing, and I want you to take a second and see if you can figure it out. So I just realized I forgot to put that in there as I'm sitting here playing with this thing. So let's go on ahead and let's take this back apart for the 5th time, and maybe this time we will get it right. And we can see if we can get it now to decide that it wants to work. If it works, great. If it doesn't, damn. So I was sitting here trying to figure out what the issue was, and well, it's staring me right in the face, and of course I don't see it. So, oh well. I don't remember how that goes. I think it goes one way or another. We'll figure it out. Alright, so this end goes like that. Or that. I think it goes like this. It might actually be there's no cutout in it or anything for that, so it's kind of hard to say. I think it is how it goes right there. So now that we have that put in place, maybe it'll hold its position and not screw me over. now that I have that in, no air comes out. Going that way. Ha! We got it figured out. Cool. Cool. Nothing leaks out. So now, hopefully, instead of fighting with it for the next half hour, it will actually decide that it wants to work when I crank down on these bolts. So great. So once I get this tight, we'll check it and we'll see if they work. But yeah, for those of you who were saying I missed that, yep, I guess you were right. It's not really something I run into very often, so usually it's just put new gaskets and put the jets back and you're done. There we go. There we go. Alright, so let's get this tight. This adjustable cause to sell the tractor yet? Being tired of doing this. Alright, so now when I blow into here, air should come out, which it does. And now when I blow into it with it like that, nothing. Cool. So that means that everything is put back together as it should be. So now that carb can go back on the tractor, and yeah, that's all took care of. So I guess now we get to go on ahead and put the new carb back on, or the rebuilt carb, not new carb back on. So let's see, this up here is our throttle. I have to think this thing go together. Give me a second as I figure this stuff out. That went like that. Yes. Alrighty, so now this guy. There was something that had a screw on it. Which actually is the choke, and you know, we should run the choke through first. So the choke has a screw. A set screw that goes in like that. Why they put a set screw in here, I have no idea. That's what it has. So I'm glad I remembered that. Here we go. So now we need to figure out where is choked. That's unchoked. That's choked. Okay, so this is currently wait a minute. I don't really think it has a certain distance it has to go in there at all. I think it just goes in there. So in that case, we'll just, let's see actually. That's, so out is, that's choked. That's unchoked. Choked, unchoked. And that screw fell out. Where did it go? So we'll throw him back in there. Strike 2. We gonna get a strike 3? Let's see. There you go. Never mind. There we go. Oh, nice. So, I have no clue why they did it like that, but they did it like that, so whatever. So I'm just gonna run it in there to that point. I'm gonna go grab a flathead screwdriver and get that tightened up. Should run over there and grab a, cool. So now, that's choked. Well, we'll figure it out later, I guess. If we have to, we can adjust it to make it perfect. There we go. Damn it, seriously? There was a cotter pin up there. I don't see it anymore. The one thing that was done off camera is I brought a wire wheel over here and I cleaned up where this goes on the manifold. So that's something that you guys didn't see but was done. Let's see if this does it or not. This isn't the correct pin, but that's what I have, so we're gonna make it work. No. I don't know where the one that's supposed to go in there went. So I got a pin in there. I just grabbed an old holder for a piston and I made it work. One that was obviously no good. So, got that to work. So hopefully now, we need to get this to go on there. I forgot how much fun this was to do before. There we go. I think we got it almost. I think we're not lining up somewhere, is my thought. Or it's just the fact that something's not right. I wonder if we were to put this on here and then put the boot on, go. I think we got it. Yeah, I think we got it now. Almost. Close. Close, but not close. We'll get it here in a minute. One second. There. Got it. So now, we need that gasket. Where the... There it is. And then we will throw him on there. Here's our bolts. There we go. So actually, the other thing I just thought of too, what we should have done, we should have hooked up the fuel line. But now that I think about it, it'd be better off doing it this way. Hooking it up after we have everything else hooked up. I say that because it's probably going to be a nightmare. Let me grab a wrench. So now I want to make sure everything works. So now I want to check real quick and make sure that the choke is working good, which it seems like it does. Cool. Throttle. Throttle moves like it should. Nice. We have that took care of. So now we just got to hook up or finish tightening down our bolts. And then while we're at it, we need to get this tightened up onto here. And then I think we are all set. We didn't loosen that one, I don't think. I think it was just this one. Cool. And then we need to tighten this guy as well as the other guy. These might... I thought they were 9/16 there for a second. There we go. That side's done. So now we need to hook this side. I am expecting the phone to start ringing here in a couple of minutes. Usually when a friend of mine gets off work, he calls. I guess we'll see. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. So I'm kind of watching and waiting and trying to be quiet in case I have to cut the phone or cut the video. It's usually around now. On his way home from work, he usually calls. Maybe not tonight. I don't know, we'll see. Because right around now, I think is when the phone starts to ring, if I have it timed right. There we go. So now we gotta hook this guy up. And that officially has everything done. There we go. So the curb is all hooked back up. So now all we need to do is get some oil for it. There you go. It will be all set and ready to go. So this is the point now I'm sure everybody has been waiting for. It is time to put oil inside of the C, and we can see, dumb joke, if it runs or not. Hopefully it should. I would assume that there shouldn't really be anything wrong with it other than just no oil. And to be honest with you, we don't need one, but I don't feel like spilling it everywhere. So I'm just going to shove that little guy in there. Engine is completely out of oil. Now I know one thing that I don't like to cheap out on is oil. In my complete honest opinion, oil is the most vital thing for an engine. It is what keeps it moving, and it lubricates everything inside the motor and makes it go. So there's no reason to cheap out on it. And if you don't cheap out on it, it will last you longer. So I run Shell Rotella, their T4, the 1540 in my garden tractors and my bigger tractors. And the reason that I do that is this oil has, I'm going to give the same speech that Diesel Creek gives, but it has zinc in it. That zinc is good for these older cast iron blocks that these older motors have, and also a thicker viscosity of oil, such as 1540, provides more lubrication for these older motors. That, and running a thinner oil inside of an older engine like this is not good, is really not the best thing to do for them. And reason being is because, you know, older stuff, it's a little more broken in than a newer engine is, and a thicker oil does a better job at and provides better viscosity than a thinner oil. Which is one thing I don't understand about modern vehicles, is why are they running such a thin oil inside of them. And one nice thing about this tractor is it's got a dipstick, which is kind of nice. So we'll just fill this little guy all the way up to the full mark. It's probably going to take this whole thing. I think it's a 4-quart engine, and I think I've put 4 quarts, not quite 4 quarts of oil in it. And then we'll have to add a little bit more to it once we do this, because we're going to have to fill that oil filter, which I didn't end up putting a new oil filter. Why am I taking another thing when I have this in my hand? I didn't end up putting another oil filter in it, and here's why. Oh, we're halfway up. The reason I didn't put a new oil filter on this tractor is I didn't pull the pan off of it, and after what came out of after what we drained out of it, I'm assuming that there's probably still stuff floating around in there. And I let the engine sit open for, I want to say, about a week. And I let it sit there and drain whatever was in it. Oh, these are only 3 quarts. I thought they were 5. So in the event of doing that, it should have drained everything that was in there out while it sat there open. So my hope is that it shouldn't have any more stuff in it, and it should be clean. So we'll run it, and then we'll run it through the filter, and I don't know how many hours I want to put on this thing in that time on this filter, but next oil change, I'll change out the filter and we'll do the oil, and we'll see how the oil looks. It might still have some stuff in it, but I did take that oil, I did take the filter off of it, and I cleaned out the filter. So I just rinsed it out with diesel fuel and then let it sit there and soak, and then rinse some water through it and let it sit there and soak. So hopefully it should be clean and it shouldn't give us any problems. We are actually right on the full mark. Nice. So I guess now we can go on ahead. You know, I'm gonna put a little bit more in there just because it's gonna take more once it goes to fill up the oil filter. So we'll just go on ahead and put, how much would you say we want to put in there? About that much? That might be about enough, and we'll check it and see where it's at. Stick wasn't all the way in that time when I checked it. We are just a little bit past full. I would say that's fine. So let's go on ahead and let's crank her up. I don't want to start it just yet. I want to let oil flow through it. And while the oil flows, I want to watch it and see if it builds up oil pressure. And hopefully it does. You know what? On second thought, maybe it wouldn't be such a bad maybe it wouldn't be such a bad idea just to go on ahead and start it and just make sure that everything about it works and that the carb does not leak. So I will put that in there so it can drain back into there. And yeah, throw our breather back on. So this is going to be the first start of this tractor since we stopped, which I want to say it's been, well, it's the end of January. So it's actually been about a month since the last time this thing has run, because I got it at the end of December, and pretty much right after I got it, I pulled it apart. So remember, there's the ignition. This is gas over here. Gas is now on. Wait a minute. Oh, you open this one. So we'll open this guy up. It's leaking. Yeah, it's leaking gas. So we'll open that up and kind of watch it. I don't see anything leaking out, so that's a good sign. I do smell gas, but it might be because I got some on my nose from checking to see if that was gas coming out of that. So throw that on. That's our switch. We'll give her some choke. See what happens. That was quick. We might need to adjust that carb. We got oil pressure and everything else seems to look pretty good. So yeah, we might have a small gas leak, maybe not. I thought I had seen gas under it, but well, it's got a puddle under it, but I don't know if that's gas or oil. It might be oil because it had a couple of puddles under it, but the bottom of that carb is dry. So I got to move a couple of things and I guess we can drive it out. I think I'm gonna have to pull that carb back apart. The needle and seat, as soon as I shut the tractor off, it started leaking. So I'm kind of thinking that might be our issue. I tried messing with it and I could not get it to get running better. And I noticed that when I brought it in here after running it full throttle down the driveway and back, I throttled it down and it ran just fine. When it finally got, I shut it off with the button, right, actually. No, it died. But it came in here and ran just fine. And then it started to miss again and run like it was. So I had the suspicion of, I'm beginning to think that it is getting too much fuel. And to my surprise, look what we have on the floor of the shop. So yeah, I kind of think that needle and seat might need to be looked into again. But it runs, it drives, and it seems like it does what it should. So I guess I'm gonna go on ahead and get this thing took care of, and then once I get it took care of, we'll try it again and see if it runs any better. I'm just gonna pull the carb apart and go through it and make sure that everything inside of it looks good, and check that needle and seat again. Maybe the seat, maybe the float sank, or the needle screwed up or got something in it, who knows. So I'll take a look at it and see what happened and report back. Engine oil has now been changed. Got some stuff for the Allis. I got a couple of headlights for it. One for this side, one for that side. They didn't have the correct ones, which are supposed to have a thing coming out the side like that, the threads. So I found these, somebody was selling on there, so I just said, what the hell, why not? So I'm gonna throw a bolt in there, and this has threads in it, so I wanna see how this looks. Now I am gonna end up, for anybody wondering, I am gonna take these and clean them up and try to make them look a little bit nicer, but I wanna see how they look on the tractor. Let me grab a wrench before I put any time into cleaning them up. Let's go on ahead and put this guy in. Now there are threads in here, but I'm not sure how well they are, so we'll just kind of go easy on it. If I have to put a nut on the outside, I will. Yeah, it just popped out. I thought it would. So let's go ahead and throw the bolt in on the other side and see how the light looks. Over here on the other side of the tractor, let's see how this guy looks. Hopefully, they don't look terrible. Now, this is going to be fun, I'm noticing. This one over here, where it bolts in is not nearly as nice as what we have on the other side. What we have on the other side is actually threads. What we have over here is just nothing. I might need a nut on the other side, but I guess, there we go. If I can get it to thread in, I will. Realistically, I just want to see how it looks before I put a bunch of time into it, you know. So, if we can get it to stay on there long enough to look at it, I'm just going to do that. There we go. Let's get a view of it from the front and see how it looks. Well, to be honest with you, it actually doesn't look half bad. One thing I do want to do, however, is I want to move them in a little bit. I don't like how far out they are, so I want the housings of the lights to be in a little bit closer to the hood of the tractor, and that would look factory. And then once the housings are in closer to the grill, that'll look pretty good to me. So, but other than that little remark I just made, those don't look too bad. So I'm gonna go in there and grab a couple of nuts, and I'm gonna tighten those down and just get them on there good and tight. Actually, what I should do is take those off of there and clean them up and get them ready for paint. So I'm gonna do that, and then once I do that, we'll go on ahead and move on to the next thing on the tractor. Sound good? Okay. Well, I will be the first one to admit I'm a dumbass. And if you know me in person and you've watched this YouTube channel long enough, I'm sure you've figured that out. So I went and I put the carb back together
on the tractor, and I'm sure you guys saw I couldn't really get it to run all that well. Apparently, I went back and watched the video because I thought something didn't seem right, because when you tighten down the one jet, it just keeps going and going and going, and there's nothing in there for it to grab onto for it to stop fuel flow. So I went inside and I watched the video back, and I'm missing a jet. So I put the carb back together without even thinking about it, and here I am missing a jet, and we can't get the damn thing to run right, and it's flooding itself out, as you guys saw in the video. So I went online, after looking around the shop and not being able to find that jet, I went online and I ordered one, and I now have it. It's in the carb. I put the carb back on the tractor. Everything's all set up and ready to go now. So I want to go on ahead and I want to see if the thing runs any better now. I have not tested it. I have not run it. I was waiting for you guys so that way we could check it and see how it does. I want to make sure that I have this on here correctly. And it appears I do. Cool. Because that's idle and that's full throttle. Yep. Cool. So now, I guess I can move over there after I turn the gas on. I have not tightened the packing on the jet, so I will have to do that. So now, hopefully, I don't see anything pouring out of it. I don't see it leaking. So if we put it back together right, the engine should start. I just saw a drip. Maybe I'm seeing things. Ready? Let's see what happens. That was better. That was a lot better than what we were having. Yeah, I think I see it leaking. Maybe not. No, it's not leaking. Okay, so I guess we just got to adjust that carb now, and yeah. So let me come back over here and try it again, and let's see if we can get it to start and stay running. The battery might be a little bit dead. Currently flooding, it looks like. It may not be flooding, but there was gas dripping out. Yeah, there's, oh, it's coming out of the valve. Oh, well, it's not coming out of the carb, so I guess that's good. I'm going to be getting rid of this valve, so I'm not horribly worried about that valve. I'm getting rid of it, but it's not coming out of the carb. That's good. So I want to run this in because it seems like it's getting a little bit too much gas. Let's try that. And that should fix our idle problem, I think. So let's see what happens. I might want to grab the battery charger. One little adjustment, seems like it fixed it. So I'm gonna back it outside and I'm gonna let it warm up for a little bit. I thought I heard it die. I'm gonna back it outside, let it run for a little bit. I just saw a spark. And once I bring it out, we'll sit there and let it run for a bit and adjust it as we need to. So yeah, all right, cool. how it fits this fucking thing. That's nice. That runs really good. I got that carb just about spot on, it seems like. So yeah, there we go. Run. Well, it's currently the next day after we went through and got the carb all back together and everything done with that. I want to go on ahead and flip the gas on and try to start it, and I guess once we do that, we'll go on ahead and end the video. So I want to take a second and thank everybody for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If it's your first time checking out this channel, please consider going down below, hitting that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a thing. It tells YouTube that you guys like the videos and want to see more. It tells myself the same thing. So this has kind of been, this is a really cool one. I've kind of wanted an Allis Chalmers for a while, and I have finally gotten my hands on one. Although actually I was after a garden tractor, but I guess this will do. So yeah, I like it. It's fairly nice. So I'm pretty happy with it. We went through it and got quite a bit done. The one thing that I do want to give some attention to is the steering, because it's got about a quarter turn of play in the wheel before it does anything, and driving around a narrow front tractor with a quarter play in the steering is kind of scary, to be honest with you. So I want to get that took care of. Not even the B has that much play in the steering, so I want to get that took care of and addressed. I also want to change the fluid out in the final drives for the wheels. I also want to do the PTO. I want to go through, check the head. I want to check the head, the valves, adjustments and everything. Make sure the head looks good. I do want to pull the oil pan. That is something I want to do, and look that pan over, make sure the pan looks good and is clean. Then I got to change out that oil filter. So yeah. Alright guys, well like I said before, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and hopefully here soon this guy will be back on the channel. Some point in time I want to throw that plow on it, and I want to try plowing the garden with it and seeing how it does. So yeah, let's go on ahead and fire it up, make sure it runs good still and doesn't piss gas everywhere anymore. And once we do that, I guess we'll close the video. So yeah, thanks guys, take care, bye. retry it. Take the phone and do some recording. I hurt my back. It went.
No way. He did, look. It went right through it. Oh, nice. That makes me feel safe. All right, take this chain off. We're not.